Welcome to this launch briefing and thank you for joining us. The aim of this briefing is to introduce the new Tech Award in Enterprise, which will be available for first teaching from September 2022. My name is Colin Leith, a subject advisor at Pearson, and presenting with me is Charlotte Bunn, our Senior Standards Verifier for Enterprise. The redeveloped Tech Award in Enterprise has retained the same three-component structure as the current Tech Award. Components 1 and 2 are each 36 guided learning hours and worth 30% of the qualification grade. They are assessed using the new Pearson Set Assignments, or PSAs, marked internally by you, the teacher assessor, and then moderated by Pearson. The PSAs are released in November of each year and assessed in May or June from 2023. So you have plenty of flexibility within your programme to prepare for, administer and mark the assessments. The final component, Component 3, is 48 guided learning hours, worth 40% of the qualification grade, and is externally assessed by Pearson. It is a 2-hour written exam, available twice a year, in the January-February exam series and in the May-June assessment series. Each assessment in the qualification is marked out of 60 available marks.
In Component 1, learners explore different enterprises to develop their knowledge and understanding of the characteristics of enterprises and the skills needed by entrepreneurs to be successful. In addition, learners explore how enterprises research their customers and competitors and how internal and external factors may affect enterprises. This content is largely the same as the current Tech Award. However, we've taken the opportunity through the redevelopment to make minor updates and expansions to clarify content and enhance the delivery of various topics. For example, we've included sole employment or side hustles into Learning Outcome A, content for Component 1, given the large growth in this over the last couple of years, and also included social enterprise and e-commerce. We've also included more structured content on primary and secondary research in Learning Outcome B for Component 1, so that it's now clear on the impact of the market research methods on the enterprises. And we've simplified yet more detailed content for the SWOT and the PESTLE in Learning Outcome C for Component 1. The component is now divided into learning outcomes rather than learning aims, meaning it is clearer what is expected in terms of evidence requirements for learners and teachers. One key change is that enterprises no longer have to be local. This is based on feedback from centres where some have struggled to engage local businesses, and we wanted to give learners more choice and flexibility in the types of enterprises for them to research. For Component 1, the requirement to consider 2 enterprises has been removed. Only one is now required, and a choice of industries are given to be selected from. This is again based on feedback from centres, and this will give teachers confidence that the choices made by learners will be appropriate and allow them to fully engage with different types of enterprises that will also further support understanding. In Component 2, learners will generate 2 realistic ideas for a micro-enterprise and choose one of these to plan within budget, presenting and then evaluating their plan and presentation. As with the first component, the content is largely the same as in the current Tech Award, with a few small tweaks. A given budget, which will ensure that learners select appropriate and suitable enterprise ideas for Learning Outcome A. A more comprehensive list of what is necessary in terms of the business plan, including exactly what financial information is required. A more balanced assessment of the production of the presentation and the delivery of the presentation without the need to pitch to an audience, making logistics for this part of Learning Outcome B for Component 2 more manageable, and a self-review of the presentation and the delivery of this for Learning Outcome C Component 2, removing the requirement to have an audience feedback, as this can be too dependent on the quality of the audience. We have also lifted the requirement to consider 3 ideas for Component 2. Only 2 are now required, and a choice of idea categories are given to be selected from. Again, this is based on feedback from centres and will give teachers confidence that the idea choices are appropriate and will ensure that learners do not overproduce work on enterprise ideas that they will not take forward. For Component 2, where students must produce a business plan and produce and present a presentation, a template is now provided for the business plan, which must be used, and a budget is now given. This is again based on feedback from centres who wanted a more structured template to work from. It also aligns more to industry practice, where entrepreneurs would use bank-produced business plans and know and understand their own budget requirements. In addition, it means again that teachers can be confident that all the content areas are covered and ideas are appropriate, and this in turn will make your assessments between learners and cohorts more standardised. The specification continues to offer vast choice and flexibility, yet with more structure and detail in the areas of the content that we know have been sometimes caused confusion and misunderstanding. As such, we are confident that you will find it easy to transition from your current delivery of Tech Award teaching and learning content, or if you are delivering Tech Awards for the first time, you'll find the content clear, practical and flexible. Components 1 and 2 are assessed through non-exam internal assessments, which have been designed to demonstrate application of the conceptual knowledge underpinning the sector through realistic tasks and activities, and in doing so to deepen learning by connecting knowledge and practice. Due to the new technical requirements from the DfE, there are some changes to the assessment of these components that will be slightly different to what teachers of the current Tech Award have been used to. Assignments used for summative assessment must now be set by the awarding organisation, so the old authorised assignment briefs have been replaced by Pearson Set Assignments, or PSAs. These will be released in November each year. Component 1 will be assessed through a Pearson Set Assignment comprised of 3 tasks over 11 hours, 6 hours of monitored preparation and 5 hours to complete the tasks. For Task 1, learners will select and research an appropriate enterprise, exploring the activities, skills and characteristics of the associated entrepreneurs. In Task 2, learners investigate the market research methods used by their chosen enterprise, evaluating and making recommendations for improvement. Finally, in Task 3, learners analyse pest and SWOT factors to make supported judgments on strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. The context of the assessment for Component 1 has changed, as learners no longer have to do 2 contrasting enterprises, and these do not need to be local as per the current spec. Learners are now given 4 industries from which they can select 1. The assessment is based on a for-profit SME of their choice that operates within this industry. Component 2 is also assessed through a Pearson Set Assignment, this time with just 2 tasks over 13 hours, 6 hours of preparation and 7 hours of completion of tasks. In Task 1, learners will use research methods to choose and reject ideas for a micro-enterprise and develop a business plan. In Task 2, learners will present their business plan and review the production and delivery of their presentation. The context of this assessment for Component 2 has now changed to give learners parameters as to what their innovative idea for their business plan can be. Learners will be given 3 contexts and need to select one of these that they can take forward to plan. In the current spec, learners could choose anything. Requirements for the idea are also now very clear, including a budget, which is not required in the current spec. Under the new technical requirements, all assessments must be marked through numerical means using a mark scheme. In the new mark scheme, students can gain up to 12 marks across 4 bands, ranging through limited, adequate, good, and comprehensive knowledge and understanding. A consistent set of descriptors to help you understand which bands fits the quality of the evidence overall, with 3 marks available in each band to give you more scope for differentiation. While the scenario or context will change each year, each PSA will assess the same skills so that the mark scheme remains consistent, making it easier for teachers and assessors to apply and standardise grading year on year. For providers currently delivering the current Tech Award, the changes made to the new Pearson set assignments should be straightforward for providers to introduce to their existing teaching and assessment practices.
The externally assessed component, component 3, is called Marketing and Finance for Enterprise. In this component, learners will explore how marketing is used by enterprises and gain an understanding of how to use financial documents and statements to monitor and improve business performance. The content of this component is very similar to the current specification. The biggest change is to the first section, Section A, which now requires learners to be taught about marketing and not just about promotion. The specification aligns to the Peter Jones Foundation Tycoon programme, so if centres want to encourage learners to run an enterprise, they can use this Tycoon competition. As with the internally assessed components, if you deliver the current Tech Award in Enterprise, the first award in Business, or any other enterprise qualification at this level, you'll find the content for Component 3 very familiar, so you can be confident in moving on to the redeveloped Tech Award. Component 3 is assessed by external synoptic assessment, set and marked by Pearson and completed under supervised conditions. The external assessment is a written assessment that requires learners to demonstrate that they can identify and effectively use an appropriate selection of skills, techniques, concepts, theories and knowledge from across the whole qualification in an integrated way. Overall, the basic purpose and nature of the assessment has not changed. However, there have been many small changes to improve delivery and functioning of the assessment, and I'll indicate 3 of these changes here. First, the inclusion of marketing and budgeting as part of the assessment. Second, that context is given in each question, but the questions themselves may be more generic, using the term an enterprise, when context is not needed from the command verb. Third, 2 extended response questions rather than 1, both worth 6 marks, are now included, and these are synoptic, drawing from knowledge and understanding elsewhere in the qualification. The assessment is available twice a year, and the first assessment is in the January-February exam series of 2024. As this is the terminal assessment for the qualification, learners can only use the external assessment results achieved in the same assessment series in which they are requesting certification. So, in order to meet the terminal rule requirement, a learner must take the external assessment in their final series, the one in which a final award is claimed. If resitting, any prior attempts at Component 3 will not be used, even if the result were higher from an earlier series. If you're starting to deliver the Tech Award this September, 2021 as part of a 3-year Key Stage 4 programme, then your learners will be claiming certification in 2024. This means that they will be studying for the new 2022 Tech Award qualification. The new qualification requires you to use Pearson set assignments for components 1 and 2. And these PSAs will not be available in the 2021-2022 school year. The new qualification also requires component 3 to be assessed in the terminal exam series. This means that no assessment for the new qualification can take place in the 2021-2022 school year. In terms of content, there's very little change, so you can still deliver the content and use the draft specification which has been published. You may also be interested in developing enterprise skills in your learners, and there are 2 competitions you might consider to help you do this. The first is the Tycoon competition mentioned earlier, run by the Peter Jones Foundation, an ideal way to develop enterprise skills and which also provides teaching resources. The second is a social enterprise challenge which has been running for 2 years now and which encourages both creativity and enterprise. It is called Be the Future, and there are details on our website. We would encourage you to look through the draft specification, the draft PSAs and the SAMs, all available on our website. And if you have further questions or are preparing to deliver and need further support, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can contact me, the subject advisor, and Charlotte, the SSV, by emailing teachingbusiness@pearson.com. And there will be Getting Started events early next year in 2022, where we'll be covering the qualification and assessments in more depth and answering further questions. You can book by visiting the Training for Pearson page on the Pearson website. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you at one of our upcoming live events.